Hello, my name is Tim. I'm here to give you a quick tour of our backyard aquaponics greenhouse. The exterior of the greenhouse is built out of pressure-treated lumber. A little tip, this lumber is called coal lumber, C-O-L-L, coal. I was able to go to, I saw this sitting outside a local big box lumber yard, and they were selling it for about half price. So if you're willing to be flexible in your design, you can usually buy your lumber pretty cheap if you are willing to keep an eye out for a good deal. The greenhouse is designed on a pole frame foundation. The pole frame means that there's 4x4 posts that are sunk into the ground, and a frame is wrapped around it. In this case, 2x4 frame. I've got a frame going the outside and the inside to allow both an outside and an inner wall to make a bit of a gap between the outside and the inside. The roof is installed over rafters that I built out of 2x4s. These are also pressure treated, although since they're going to be on the interior, they really don't have to be. But again, these were bought as coal lumber, so they're actually cheaper than buying untreated wood. You can see the walls of the greenhouse are nice and clear, at least compared to other greenhouses you might have seen where it's kind of a milky colored plastic. On the interior, I'm just using vinyl shower curtains, about $2 each, at a local discount store. There's really just nothing special about how I installed it. Basically just stretched over the framing and put in staples. You can see here that I've installed a screen door like you would find on a house. This is recycled from a construction site. I picked that up off of Craigslist for about 20 bucks. My grow beds are made out of IBC totes that have been cut down to accommodate the size that I need for a grow bed. This intermediate bulk container tote was cut down and we're using it as a float bed. We're just floating neti pots and just a big sheet of styrofoam with holes cut in it. Just to provide a little extra oxygen, I've got a bubbler that I picked up for 14 bucks at a local store. 2 stones are pumping air into the mix because you just can't have enough oxygen. The float bed maintains a constant height of fill using the standpipe you see. That standpipe is connected to a bulkhead fitting that goes through the bottom of the grow bed and out through a drain pipe. Here you can see a close-up of the cap that I put over the media screen that's on my bell siphon here in the grow bed. Don't know how well you can see it, but the bell siphon is sitting there with a little bit of water on top of it. For those of you who are wondering, what I did is I took a piece of black corrugated tubing and I ran it through my table saw where the blade would only cut through the first little bit of the corrugations. I ran it through about every 1.5 inches and that created a nice media screen. Here's another grow bed. This one has beans, some peppers. I also have tomatoes growing in the background, and we're going to be transplanting some of the squash that's in the float bed right now over here into the flood and fill bed. Both of these grow beds you see here are plumbed using PVC pipe, and candidly it's probably a little more elaborate than it really needed to be. I wanted to make sure that I had plenty of flow, so I used 1-inch diameter pipe, and I put valves on both of the float beds. What you see here is a connection that I put into the PVC plumbing, and that is the ability to hook on a regular garden hose fitting. This Y splits off in 2 directions. One goes up with the smaller black vinyl tubing that you see to keep my overhead plants hydrated and fed. And the other one simply goes back into the sump as a means of providing pressure relief because I've got a pretty big pump on this system. What you see here is a standard pedestal pump that you can find in almost any hardware store in the United States. It's about 3 foot high. The actual impeller that it pumps from is down inside the fluid. And we've got a plumb to feed all of our grow beds in the float bed. To make this work inside the sump, I actually created a bracket so that the pedestal pump is captured from both sides of it. It seems to hold up pretty well. What you see here is the sump that is used to feed the grow beds. The fish tank actually dumps into the sump, so the fish tank maintains a constant volume. What you see here is a shelf that I built to cover over the sump. It does two things: gives us a place for our stuff, and also helps control evaporation. That little deck removes pretty easily. And you see here is the fish tank. I don't have any fish in it just yet. That murkiness you see there, that's from yesterday. I dumped some blackstrap molasses. My goal with the molasses was to raise the potassium level because some of my plant leaves are looking kind of sick. And the sickness, according to the internet, and it must be true if it's on the internet, the symptoms were of a potassium deficiency. Of course, molasses has a lot of carbohydrates in it, and so I think what I'm seeing here is the effect of my micro herd, that is all the little bacteria that do their job in there, of having a little party eating up all the sugars. I expect this is going to clear out here before too long, just another day or so of cycling. This is a little deck that I built for the top of the fish tank. I'm going to use this surface to put a duckweed bed down so we can grow some fish food. And here on that little deck, you see the bin that I'm going to grow some duckweed in. I don't have this plumbed yet, but I plan on just putting a standpipe in it and letting it drain off the side. Here you see the electrical brains of the outfit, or at least until I get it converted to something a little less of a prototypical rat's nest here. The brains is this timer. This is a 24-hour timer. It breaks each hour up into 15-minute increments, so you can have 4 15-minute events timed on or off in a single hour. We have this set up to run every 15 minutes for 90 minutes. Top side, I have some simple 5-gallon plastic buckets with holes punched in the bottom that I plumbed with that 1/4-inch irrigation line that you saw earlier off of the plumbing tee, or plumbing tree rather. Got some tomatoes going on and some nice herbs. Up, out of the way. Probably be a bit of a headache to harvest, but that's the kind of problem you want to have. And here you have the end of the quick tour of our backyard aquaponics greenhouse. I welcome your comments. If you have any questions, feel free to post them. I'll answer them if I can.